Hello everyone, I hope you can see me, so tell me if you can't. Yeah, I don't know why I'm so cheery because it wasn't a good day for us at all. I don't really know where to start. I think, did we put out the wrong team? Were we just outclassed? Well, I think it's a bit of both really. And what actually is the worst about this situation is, I think we'll start from the back before I get into any of our injuries. Why are we dropping Christensen and Rudiger when they've done absolutely nothing for them to be dropped? Everything we were like stable, like together. I understand David Luiz has been injured, but Conte's always been one of those managers where if you're injured and something happens, or and another player comes into the team, then they get stuck. That's you've sort of lost your place. I mean, look at what happened to John Terry in his last season with us. He sort of went out injured and then never sort of regained his place, and he was our captain. So I can't really understand why, especially I think if he doesn't really want Rudiger to play, I sort of he's new and settling in and everything, but to drop Christensen when he's been absolutely nothing short of fantastic, considering he was probably the only player on the pitch against Man City that had a good job, for him to then get dropped just because David Luiz has come back from injury, I think is actually a little bit rubbish on Conte's part, to be honest. I know I said I was happy for him to be back, but I knew we were going to concede today. I said in my team reaction, I said I know we're going to concede today because we do not have some of our best players. We don't have Kante, and before we even get into Morata and what we've got up front, Kante is this is why when I heard that PSG rumour, I just thought to myself, he can't go anywhere. Like he really can't go anywhere, because he's the glue that holds our team together. I'm going to come inside, it's a little bit loud out there. He's the glue that holds our team together. So I don't really understand the logic in sort of. I suppose I don't understand the logic in the entire team going out. I mean, it's just bizarre to me. And I think if we talk about Michy for 1 minute, and this was probably his chance to shine. This was his chance to, lots of you were saying in the match review that you thought it was going to be a hat trick from Michy, or at least 2 goals. I don't think we saw anything, So, like I say, disappointing day all round. I don't think Rory's their keeper didn't really have to make many saves. It was sort of just all them. Aramis wanted to get more playing time. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's fair, but I think our problems lie deeper than trying to play our youngsters today. I think it was a combination of everybody. I think maybe, who was it? My friend Neil texted me, said we looked a bit tired from the international break, but then, I mean, all teams of our players got on international duty, for the love of God. I mean, Man City won 7-2 today against Stoke City, and they're a half decent side, and we can't pull a win together, a win from Palace, who have been absolutely terrible all season. So they seem to just outclass us, and I think Conte, you could sort of see that in the pictures in his post-match that he said we needed more character, and we did. We don't think we showed anything today. Comment for me, best and worst performance today. If there is a best performance, Bakayoko getting a goal, I suppose, but I mean Dave giving away an own goal in the first 11 minutes. You're always swimming upstream when you start off a game like that, and I think it's easier to recover from if you're playing a home game. But if you're in a ground like Crystal Palace, away from home, and you let in an own goal that early on in the game, it is quite difficult to come back from, especially when we haven't got our bloody best players. Cesc, worst David Luiz. We were short under. Hazard was poor. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. We need our best players sort of on form, don't we? And I did say before the game, I said I don't think Morata's going to be back. I really don't think he's going to be back, and I don't think he wouldn't have had time to fully get back to his best. Even if he was able to play in this game, would he have made much of an impact? Because he wouldn't have been fully fit. No one turned up today. Yeah, I agree. There's not really anything else to say, is there? Other than it was a poor performance all round. We get Conte out. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a little bit rich. Don't think he's going anywhere. This is why we should have signed Llorente. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think we need another striker for sure, but Llorente was never going to be a long-term signing. He's a much older player, and we all know how our club feel about those, and I don't really see the point in signing a player that's not going to be the next Morata. Is Llorente the next Morata? Not really. So I don't think we need a plan B, yeah, but I would prefer that we had 2 world-class strikers. I don't want us to have one striker that Conte loves and the other that he's not really not too sure about. I want us to have, you know, an all-round squad, good options on, like, you know, we were quite lucky last season. We didn't actually come down with many injuries, if any. I know Moses went out for a little bit, but apart from that, I think Kante was out for a couple games, I think, but no, there was nothing major, and obviously Kante not being involved today was a huge problem. No passion today. Seems like the players didn't want to trade for Chelsea. Fabregas was the only motivated player on the pitch. Yeah, I suppose. I think it's quite hard for me, I think, to pinpoint a good player when we've lost 2-1 away to Palace. Against Man City was probably a different situation when I said Christensen was probably the only player on the pitch that did well, because they're a much tougher side, and if anything, if we're going to drop points against Burnley and Palace, then our sort of title hopes are sort of going. I think it's okay to sort of recover from. It's still early on in the season, but our rivals aren't dropping any points at all. So, and if we're not picking up the points in our home games against our rivals like City, then we're going to get ourselves in these situations, and I don't know if we're going to retain our title now. I don't know if it's possible. I think Champions League, we're still looking really fresh, really good, but I think the Premier League is becoming a bit of a stretch now because we're just playing too many sloppy games. That's what I would say. Let me have a look. We need to set our eyes on the Champions League. Yeah, I agree, we do. I think that's probably it's going to have to be the main aim now. And maybe I'm speaking too soon, and comment if I'm wrong if you think we've still got a chance of winning the Premier League, but I think in order for us to start winning the Premier League, I think Man United are probably, apart from Liverpool today where they drew, they still got, you know, a point out of that. They haven't really played any hard games yet, but in terms of City, they've turned up against us. They're winning matches, not by 1 or 2 goals, 7-2, 4-0, 5-0. And we're not displaying the same thing, and we can't even, I mean, you drop points against Burnley and Palace, and you also don't pick up the points in your home games against your rivals, and that's a big problem, because what's it going to be like when we end up going to City later on for the away leg? I mean, it's only going to go one way, isn't it, unless we sort of change things up a little bit. Mitchie needs to set up, bring Ancelotti back. Well, I think that's a bit too soon. I love Conte as our manager. I don't think this is a manager problem. I think Conte's obviously frustrated with the lack of forwards that we signed. We can't rely on Morata, obviously. What happens if he comes back and gets injured again? We do need somebody else. And as much as I love Batshuayi, if the manager doesn't love him and we're having these games, I think this would have been the perfect game for him to be like, right, okay, I need to include. I want to see something from Richie. This was his opportunity to sort of show us and shut down any haters that don't like him. And we didn't really see anything, did we? We basically just saw an own goal and then silence from Richie himself. Yeah, comment below. We've now got Roma, huge game. We're not even in the knockout stages, but I do feel like we've probably played our toughest game. Atletico Madrid away. But the away leg in Roma, 31st of October, I think that is. We need to just pick up points in all of these games, and like I say, Champions League has to be our main priority now, because unfortunately I don't see us winning the Premier League this season. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it now, I feel really bad, but that's sort of my feelings after this game today. Roma are an okay side. I think we're more than capable of beating them at home. We don't have our 2 best players. I mean, let's put it that way. We don't have Kante, we don't have Morata. They're not going to be back on Wednesday at all. I don't see that happening in a million years. As much as we would all love to be excited at the prospect of them coming back, it's just not going to happen. Even if they were on the pitch, they wouldn't be fully fit. And I think Conte's not going to be stupid. Even when we saw Hazard was out, he eased him back in. He didn't just throw him into a full 90 minutes straight away, and that's probably the best thing that we could do, because the last thing we would have needed was for him to go off with another injury, and probably even worse, and be out for even longer. So yeah, unluckily for us, we don't have two of our key players. Yes, Hazard is also one of our best players, but I think Kante and Morata you've got our goal scorer and our glue, and we don't have either. So thank you, Sadia. Yeah, thank you. I will be fine. But yeah, let's just see how it pans out. Let's try and move on from this now. I think the most important thing to take from this game is that we need to stop dropping points against pretty average teams that haven't been performing very well. I think it's inevitable that we're going to concede in a game like Palace, especially with our main players, but we need to move on from it, and we need to sort of correct those errors, because I mean, I want to be at least top 4 this season, you know. Nevertheless, I thought we were doing pretty well before our last couple of weeks. Yeah, so comment below, guys. Do you think our Premier League title hopes are over already? Would you like to now prioritise the Champions League? I'm saying yes, and let's just hope for a better comeback on Wednesday. I'm going to be outside doing the fan cam, so come and say hello. And I'm also going to do a Sunday match review tomorrow, because I always feel like the day after I've had time to reflect a little bit better, as well as an hour or two after the game, or even a few minutes after the game, you're just a little bit just in awe, and you don't really know what's going. You're just like angry and frustrated. As well as on Sundays, I feel like I've got all the time in the world to gather my thoughts, think rationally, and then go from there. So yeah, comment below what went wrong today. Are our title hopes over? Would you like to prioritise the Champions League? Let me know, and I will see you all tomorrow for another live review. Go on, you Blues.